So CNN decided to sit down after the fifth Democratic debate with a group of 9 Democratic Iowa voters. Now, of course, you're going to hear here at the very beginning they emphasize these are loyal Democratic voters in a Democrat town, blah, blah, blah. Just emphasizing this whole Democrat thing. And I'll go deeper into my thoughts on that after we watch this clip. But before we get to the clip, let's talk about the significance of Iowa here for a moment, okay? So obviously, as you know, a lot of the polls floating around Iowa right now are not reflecting good on people like Tulsi and Andrew Yang. We will talk about that a little bit later as well. But the significance and the importance of Iowa is that is the starting line, really, of this primary race. That is where the gun's going to fire and it's off to the races. We've seen the debates, but come February, when the Iowa contest happens, the Iowa caucus, okay, that's where it's really going to turn up the heat, okay? That's when you know, okay, it's game time. If you don't do well in Iowa, you do really, 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 really horrible, that's not going to be a good thing. And, you know, fact of that, and to give you evidence of what I'm talking about. That's why people like Tulsi Gabbard are putting up signs basically all over the place. You've got to start turning up the heat and getting the message across. So, apparently, just to give you a quick little, rundown on these Democratic voters, they keep bringing, from what I gathered, a little bit I've seen of this clip so far, the same people in after these debates to keep asking them their thought. Or thoughts, I guess I should say. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit too after we get through this clip. But I just want to say, first of all, why not switch it up? I mean, really, you want to hear from the same people every single time, as if it's only going to be these 9 people deciding the freaking election and the primary caucus in Iowa? These 9 people, you don't want to hear from different towns throughout Iowa. Again, I'll elaborate on that in a little bit. But let's just go ahead and jump right in, take a look at this clip.
If recent history is any guide, millions of Americans will have seen tonight's debate. Right now, though, we want to narrow it down to just 9. 9 men and women, all Democrats, all but 2 undecided. Their take on the candidates will set the tone and set it early because these 9 voters live in Iowa. We first met them back in June. We're always glad to see them. They watched the debate tonight with our Gary Tugman. Gary?
Anderson, 5 months, 5 debates. We've been with the same group of loyal Democrats here in the reliably Democratic county of Johnson County, Iowa, home of the University of Iowa, each time. And we watched the debate together today. They were all undecided when we started. 2 now have made decisions. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, tonight's debate. The first 4, Elizabeth Warren did the best among this group. Who had the best showing tonight, Roseanne?
Klobuchar and Booker.
Ed?
Klobuchar and Warren.
Klobuchar and Booker.
Booker.
Booker and Warren.
Scott?
Booker and Buttigieg.
Booker and Klobuchar.
Booker and Klobuchar.
Warren and Klobuchar.
Warren and Klobuchar.
Klobuchar and Booker.
Klobuchar and Booker. So it looks like most of you, the highest number is Booker. Klobuchar second. Warren sounds like she came in third here. And Buttigieg had 1. One person said Buttigieg? 1 person said Buttigieg. First of all, why do you think Booker did the best? Who wants to tell us?
He's the most inspiring. He's always working on talking about the issues in a positive manner, and he doesn't do any personal attacking.
We didn't hear Biden or Sanders, 2 of the front runners. How come no one?
What? Cory Booker is the most inspiring candidate. Now, to be fair, I suppose if you don't go too deep into it, you hear Cory Booker talk. He does have a very professional manner about him, just to play devil's advocate here for this guy. I could see where you think he is presidential. What are his policies? What are his policies? He is dead on an insider. The only thing that I could say off the top of my head that me and Cory Booker have zero disagreement on and 100% agreement on is where his stance is on the legalization of marijuana. Now, whatever his reasoning behind why he wants to do that is, don't know, don't care. I think I know anyways. He's brought up, you know, the whole how it impacts minority communities. Whatever the reasoning is, mate, the end result's what matters. Okay? And that is certainly one of the biggest issues with keeping it illegal is all the people being locked up for nonviolent offenses. Okay? But inspiring, not hardly if you do your homework. Now, he doesn't use personal attacks. Here's what's so nerve-wracking about this. Lady, keep in mind now, CNN has these people on here to give you their unbiased, blue-collar voter opinion. Right? Okay. She supposedly just sat here and watched the 5th debate. Okay? Did you not hear Cory Booker tell Joe Biden about when Joe Biden made the comment the Saturday before or whatever that he was not to the point where he wanted to legalize marijuana yet, basically? Did you not hear Cory Booker say, yeah, I thought you were high when you said it? That's kind of a jab. That's kind of an insult. Now, maybe you're not, okay, he didn't go out and say, Joe, you're too senile, drop out, you're a crazy old kook. No, he didn't do that. But to me, that's still considered a personal attack. You insinuated that this man is smoking pot while running for president and goes out and does rallies high. That's basically what you said. Now, it was a tongue-in-cheek joke, of course. That's the way I took it. But nonetheless, you still said it. Could be considered a personal attack joke. Whatever. Really, lady? Okay. So, either you miss that or you just rule that out. But whatever the case, no. Next.
Does anything about Biden or Sanders in a positive way after this debate?
I don't think they really did anything differently than what we've seen in previous debates.
How do you think Biden did, Malone? You picked Biden in the first debate, I think.
Right, I
doing
picked
the
him in
best.
the first debate. But, I mean, for me, Biden was just a little off. I mean, he started mumbling on certain things, so I just kind of backed off.
Impeachment.
Joe Biden was all over the place. You go watch clips of him. The last debate, I predicted how many gaffes he would have. I think he definitely hit my prediction from last debate on this one. The man looked like he just needed someone to put Old Yeller down. I mean, seriously. Did you see him during the debate? He reminded me of that old droopy dog who just had the real slow voice every time he spoke with a baggy eyes. That's what Joe Biden looked like. I mean, just watch him when he's asking for a response. That was Joe Biden, man. It was pitiful. It was so freaking pitiful.
Big issue right now, as we know. First thing that was mentioned during the debate. Thought an interesting point was Amy Klobuchar said our job is to look at each count when talking about impeachment. Kamala Harris said we have a criminal in the White House. Two very different approaches. Which was the best approach in this debate?
Well, Klobuchar for sure.
Klobuchar for sure.
Yes.
So you think that was too harsh with what Kamala Harris said about Donald Trump?
We're still in a fact-finding mode right now. And
I mean, the fact is he's not a convicted criminal. That's
Exactly,
a fact, right? Okay.
But, I mean...
but you think Klobuchar's approach is a better approach?
Exactly.
If senators are going to be jurors, they need to at least come into it with an open mind looking at the evidence presented. Otherwise, in a normal jury trial, they'd be struck.
So you think enough was mentioned about the impeachment issue during this debate?
Yes.
What was the most important moment you thought during the debate?
I think the conversation about acknowledging people of color throughout everything, not just during the election season. It came up multiple times.
What do you think, Temple?
I agree. Showing up, making sure that they show up for black women, because black women have continuously showed up at the polls.
Do you want to continue seeing this many people in the debates?
No.
You know, you're going to go to the Iowa caucuses on February 3rd. Is it okay if 10 or 12 people are still in the race?
No.
You want them to leave?
I would prefer that they recognize that nationally it's just not their time and to bow out, so that the other candidates can have that opportunity.
So who?
Really? Okay. Now, please tell us, oh lovely panel, who are the people that should drop out?
Drop out.
Andrew Yang.
Anyone else?
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Steyer.
And Steyer. Okay. Final question for you. I was talking about you were all
I like how they lumped Tom Steyer in at the end, but you noticed, they were quick to pounce right on Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, I smell a rat here. I smell a big rat. And before the end of this video, if you stick with me, we're going to pull back the curtain and expose that nasty rat.
Decided when we started. Rosanna, have you made a decision?
I have.
You have?
I am planning to caucus for Amy Klobuchar.
Amy Klobuchar, how about you, Ed?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Privately, yes, but no, because
Privately.
privately,
So we can't shake you to get it out of you.
no, because we're still advocating for mental illness plans.
Okay, Scott, you're the husband. Have you decided?
I have not decided.
Do you know who she wants?
I do. I can't tell you.
Oh, boy. Okay. Rikisha?
No.
Okay. Now, Temple, you have a sticker that says Warren on your red sweatshirt. You had decided Warren 2 debates ago.
Yes.
Have you changed your mind about her?
I have not.
So you're still with her?
I will still be caucusing for Warren.
And Janice?
Getting close, not there yet.
Not there yet. Okay, so most of our people still undecided. You still have a lot of time, but in a sense it's dwindling because it is exactly 75 days into the Iowa caucuses. Anderson?
Wow, 75 days. Thank them so much for being with us yet again. It's so nice that they came back.
Okay, let's just dive right on into this. So, Booker, Klobuchar. That's basically what you heard from these 9 people. And of course, they explain like Warren was the dominant one in previous debates, okay? What is the significance here? You see, when the mainstream media was a little too worried that Bernie was doing too good, Bernie was posing a serious threat, and Warren was way down in those polls, okay? When she was very low for a long time, and they thought that there was too much of a threat from people like Bernie Sanders. I don't think they have really thought too much of Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard. They definitely think they're a threat. But the poll numbers are not showing them up there at the front runner position yet. They've definitely got a long uphill battle ahead of them. And I certainly hope that something can change for them very soon. Because I would much rather see some Amy Klobuchar's, Cory Booker's, and Kamala Harris's and Buttigieg's dropping on out of this race like flies. Biden, yeah, y'all just exit stage left, please. Okay? Now, I get it. Some of those are considered front runners. Don't hold your breath on that. But I could easily see Kamala and Cory going out the door very soon. And I certainly hope that they do. Okay? But you notice they act like these people just dominated. Even Cory Booker, I think, used this clip, released a YouTube video of it, basically bragging like, oh, look how great I did, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's wonderful. Now, what's the significance here? Okay, recent polls that have come out of Iowa show Mayor Pete is doing the best. And, of course, it supposedly shows that Andrew Yang and Tom Steyer and Tulsi Gabbard are down at the like 3%. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's still doing better than Cory Booker, I think. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've only looked at this thing like once today. Okay. But I know Amy Klobuchar is supposed to be doing a little bit better than them. Now, remember, Iowa, we're out in the Midwest. Oh, you know. So I don't think, unfortunately, even though Iowa is the first one, that is a good reflection of where the rest of the country is at. Different areas of the countries have different views and what they want. But my problem with this thing in particular, with this thing in particular here is you can't tell me. You just can't get me to believe, because now that Warren is well on up in the polls, now all of a sudden, remember Warren was their person in these last few debates. Now all of a sudden it swung to Booker, who's low in the polls. You can't get me to believe there's not some screwery, I know that's not a word, some screwing around going on here with these people. Something just is afoot. Maybe I'm being a little paranoid, but just something seems off to me. So it seems to me when they were too worried about a Bernie Sanders and they said, oh, we can't have this guy. You had Elizabeth Warren, of course, posing to be the female Bernie Sanders when, of course, to a lot of donors and whatnot behind the scene, we've been suspecting she's had these private positions. And, of course, with her recent fumbling around on Medicare for All, we now see, oh, yes, it's becoming more and more clear, just like Harry Reid said it would. Okay? And that's not a compliment towards Harry Reid. Harry Reid is a corporate Democrat scumbag himself. He just predicted she would become more pragmatic and let the cat out of the bag. Okay? So now that she's pulled ahead, they're like, well, she's better than Bernie, but if we were able to get this done, hey, what the hell? Let's look a gift horse in the mouth. Cory Booker's still a much better option than she is. Kamala Harris is a much better. Amy Klobuchar is great. Yeah, she's a female. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, let's get her on up there, okay? Now, maybe these people genuinely believe what they said, but this is CNN we're talking about here. And if you think I'm just going to take their word for it, yeah, that ain't happening. No. I trust the mainstream media about as much as I trust a snake. And you don't trust snakes. Period. Okay? Now, all these voters have been so undecided. And, of course, they all still gave this performance now. They gave the best performances to the Cory Bookers, the Kamala Harrises, the Amy Klobuchars, and the one Pete Buttigieg. And, of course, there was a few Warren votes in there. Warren, I think they said, came in third place or whatever. Okay. That's great. Now I got one question. Whose clips have been going the most viral all over social media? Now, Cory Booker did get that one good zinger in on Joe Biden. Oh, yeah, that I'll give credit where that's due. I covered that on my channel. Okay? So he did have a good comeback there. How about the rest of it? How many Amy Klobuchar clips have you seen going viral? Everyone's passing around YouTube. All these YouTube commentators like myself and other channels. How many of us have you seen covering the wonderful, brilliant moments from Amy Klobuchar? How many of those have you seen floating around out there? I mean, have you seen a bunch of them on the media coverage, mainstream media coverage? Because they're not putting them out on YouTube. I'm not seeing them. Okay? So, if she did so great, why are we not seeing anything about it? Yet, who did have some good one-liners? Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard had some real, well, I wouldn't say one-liners, but she had some really good moments. She literally made Pete Buttigieg cower down, as Kyle said on Secular Talk, like a little boy. Okay? She took Mayor Pete to task, son. Laid the smack down on that candy ass. Okay? Mayor Pete had no argument against her policy. He just tried to be a smart aleck and interrupt in different little, points, trying to make, when she's going through history comparison, JFK meeting with Khrushchev. Okay? Reagan with Gorbachev. FDR with Stalin. And then, I like Trump with Kim, which, contrary to what people think, diplomacy is a good thing. You don't need to sit down and work peace out with your friends. That's what you have to do with your enemies. Because your friends, you already have peace with your friends. You don't need to sit down and discuss how you're going to maintain peace with your friends as long as each of you treat each other like your friends. You have to work out peace through diplomacy with your enemies. That's the one thing they criticize her on, is trying to use good diplomacy. So, now, who did they recommend drop out of the race? Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang. Now, of course, didn't Andrew Yang just have like a big, massive fundraising increase a month or two ago, where his numbers went through the roof, almost rivaling Bernie Sanders? Now, I don't know what the polls necessarily reflect from that, but that tells me there's some people who really believe in Andrew Yang. Really believe in Andrew Yang. Okay, wow. Tulsi Gabbard. Okay? A lot of grassroots movement behind Tulsi Gabbard. Last month, she smashed through her, goal for how much money she needed to raise, thanks to Hillary Clinton. Yeah, Hillary Clinton opening that trap, opening that big mouth, riled up people for Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, but of course, it was all the Russians. The Russians did it. Hell, now that I think about it, that's probably why all those Tulsi clips went viral. Bunch of Russian bots were doing it. Russian bots like myself and Jimmy Dore and Kyle Kalinske over on Secular Talk and The Hill Rising. We all go to bed at night and dream about Vladimir Putin. So you can thank us for that. People like us. Yeah, me and my last time I checked, 92 subscribers. Woo-hoo. Yeah, such a great... now, of course, Jimmy Dore and Kyle obviously have much bigger audiences. So, they're the upper echelon of the Russian, hierarchy around here for pushing that propaganda. And for those of you out there, I'm making a joke. Just to be clear, in case some nut in the mainstream media ever watches a video like this and think they've got some gotcha out there. No, we're not Russian agents. And it's sad that you even have to reiterate something like that, But they want her to drop out. They want her to drop out of the race. And what was some of the reasoning that they gave for that? I think they need to realize that it's just not their time. I think they should realize it. That they should just pass this over and let someone else have their day. Oh, like Cory Booker? Considering Cory Booker was inches away from dropping out. What was it, like a month ago? He was walking the razor's edge on dropping out of this race. He was in dire straits. I mean, he was in serious trouble, son. So Tulsi and Andrew Yang are doing better than him. Definitely in the fundraising department. And we're not talking big super PAC fundraising either. We're talking grassroots individual donations. They're doing a lot better than Booker in that department. Most places they're polling better than Booker. But they're supposed to drop out. And you think Booker is so great now all of a sudden from this last debate, but they should drop out and Booker's still lower than they are? That's where I really start to smell a rat big time. Real big time. Now, let's examine one last thing before I call this video a wrap. Okay? Of course, recent polls I referenced earlier in Iowa show now Pete Buttigieg in the lead and Tulsi and Andrew Yang down there around 3%, right? And remember, they brought the same people in time after time in Iowa. So again, you don't get to hear a different voice. So we're not getting to hear from different people. How many of you out there believe they probably pre-screened these people before they even let them on? Tried to at least, even if they didn't know which candidate they wanted, get a feel for what their ideals were and what they wanted in a candidate and blah, blah, blah. Or even downright probably just paid them to come on and play along. That's why they got the same 9 people in there all the time. The fact they're not changing it up at all, yeah, that's, wow. Talk about some, differing opinions. You got a state like Iowa, the first state in this whole thing, and you can't even get different groups of people for different debates just to hear. Heck, even if you had different segments where you talk to different people across the state of Iowa and different counties to hear what their opinions of the debate, but the same 9 people 5 times in a row, that's rigging it, man. That's rigging it. That's rigging it big time. And then to make bad matters worse, this this poll that's showing Buttigieg at the top, and of course putting people like Yang and Gabbard down in the basement. Oh, from what I've gathered, looks like CNN had a hand in it. The plot thickens. The plot thickens. And it all becomes so clear. Another work, another orchestration from the oh-so-trusted CNN News Network. Because they're going to always tell you the whole truth. And it's heartfelt. Yeah, that's a load of crap. Complete load of crap. And quite frankly, maybe these voters really do feel the way that they said. But judging from the way they pitched their arguments, why they felt the way they felt, and considering it's the same 9 people every single time, just sounds to me like more of the mainstream media's agenda to try and keep voices like Tulsi and Andrew Yang, just try to make them seem like they're not serious, they need to go somewhere, so every other person out there watching them may have liked what they heard but said, oh, yeah, they don't really have a chance. They're doing everything possible to push more and more and more corporate candidates. They got Warren possibly boosted in the polls because she's definitely up now, and they were pushing her over Bernie. Now that that's happened, they say, you know what? We're just going to roll the dice and see what happens. Let's go for Booker. And let's go for Klobuchar, considering both of them are like freaking boulders in the polls. They're way down on the bottom. Okay, especially nationally. Nationally, Tulsi and Yang are polling above, if I'm not mistaken, Klobuchar and Booker. Okay? So, this just seems like more typical mainstream media crap. And they're pulling every stunt possible to try and swing voters more towards these corporate people, more towards their corporate Democrats, to try to make them think that it's a lost cause to go for any of them. And if they can alienate and get rid of Gabbard and Yang here, then the only one left to take out is good old Bernie Sanders. They screwed you in 2016. Bernie, if it's just you left standing with 4 or 5 other corporate Democrats, they will most certainly ride this horse into a contested convention, make it to that second round, and those superdelegates will screw you again. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Independent Report. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up and like the video. Also, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to ask, or topics you'd like us to cover, please drop a comment in the comment box below. And also, please subscribe to the channel. And if you do subscribe, ring that bell so you'll stay up to date when we drop new videos and you'll get notifications of it. And also, please support us on Patreon. Funds are going to be used to grow and improve this channel so we can reach more and more people and spread the message that the mainstream media doesn't want to tell people. We hope you'll tune in next time.